New continuation of Malaysian experience since independence 1957. And of course, I think there were several concepts such as Vision 2020, Wawasan 2020, Islam Hadari, Wasatiyah as well, One Malaysia, and Keluarga Malaysia, Malaysia Family, and the latest one, of course, Malaysia Madani, that basically to build a sustainable, caring, compassionate, respectful, innovative, prosperous Malaysia based on mutual trust, or in short, SCREAM. Then here I think just very briefly, I can send you later on my PowerPoint, geographical and political overview of Malaysia, and then historical context, cultural diversity in Malaysia because Malay 60%, Chinese 20%, Indian 7%, Dayak, Kadazan, and various indigenous groups about 7% in that country. Then I move to the other part, cultural diversity, of course. Then the pre-independent, we have here, of course, Malaysia. Finally, here we have several other empires before, like the Majapahit Empire, and later, of course, Malacca Muslim Empire, and several Muslim empires in the Malay archipelago. That the historical context, of course, the cultural diversity of that country, and then during the historical society, historical coexistence, pre and post-independent here, again, as I mentioned earlier, that how we evolve in terms of our society. There were racial riots in 1969 that prompted emergency rule and the suspension of parliament and the proclamation of Rukun Negara and national philosophy emphasizing unity among people. So there were times that we encounter the racial riot between races of Malay, Chinese, and Indian. But after that, the government introduced that Rukun Negara, a kind of national philosophy emphasizing unity among the citizens, as well as very important economy as well. In order to bridge the gap of economic, then the government also introduced the new economic policy, basically to bridge the gap between Malay and non-Malay, between Muslim and non-Muslim, with the goal of achieving 30% of Malay-Muslim control in the economics. So that basically the idea, because Muslim basically quite far behind after British colonialization, then the Malay-Muslim got far behind in terms of economic equity. Therefore, the new economic policy basically adopted in 1971 to mend the bridge between the non-Malay, the non-Muslim, and the Muslim in economic equity, particularly with the Chinese, basically the major main control in the Malaysian economy as well. Therefore, that new economic policy to close the bridge between the Muslim and non-Muslim in equity control of Malaysian economic. The rest, I think, of course, a lesson for independence. We know that Malaysia, basically independent from various struggles for independence, bravery fighting from Maharaja Lela to Mat Kelau, to Rosli Dobi in Sarawak, and Muhammad Saleh in Sabah. That, I think, our history. And I think I just move forward straight away to the Malaysia Madani. Of course, I think luckily, finally, after that incident, actually, blessing these guys, then finally we start to have a more understanding, cultural diversity aspect. Then we have all religions national holiday. We have Idul Fitri, Idul Adha national holiday. For the Buddhist, Chinese New Year's. For the Indian, Diwali. And for the Christian, Christmas. Meaning to say, the national holiday addressed to all group of people, becoming national holiday. Not only for Muslim, but also for Christian, for the Hindus, for the Buddhists. All are having their own national holiday. Meaning to say, we in Malaysia celebrate most national holiday because of 4, 5, or 6 major religions resided in Malaysia. So I think that gives certain, I would say, foster a better understanding and respect between us. And the spirit, the other important also, the spirit of Muhibah. The spirit of Mohibah became a kind of a song, very, very popular, particularly in 70s, 80s. A very popular song right from the bottom to the top of the society. The song of Mohibah, meaning to say peaceful or goodwill or harmony, coexistence. So that song, I say, play a very important role as well in fostering the coexistence, harmony in life. Then I move to the other point, of course. This beside that. Political, finally, I think we come to the conclusion that we have to work together. And then education as well, very important, that force the coexistence. Then legal framework as well, and national policy as well. Toward that federal constitution, and also Rukun Negara also basically moving toward that direction of peaceful coexistence and understanding each other better. Then, of course, the main theme that I want to discuss here, of course, in the peaceful coexistence through Malaysia Madani, was launched by Ahmad Muhammad Su'anu Ibrahim in 19 January, encapsulating various vision, mission, and crucial strategies. Indeed, Malaysia Madani, with its accompanying principle, sustainability, prosperity, innovation, respect, trust and care and compassion should be fully embraced by every Malaysian. And this also, I think, very important for Malaysia in facing challenges of change, whether missings of public fund, impact of post-pandemic COVID-19, global conflict of Russia and Ukraine, and genocide in Gaza, Palestine, VUCA, the challenges of volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity, and also hyperconnectivity that I think all of us are facing now, right today. Of course, Madani mindset is another crucial prerequisite for Malaysia Madani to be successful. The need for Malaysian people, whether regardless of race and religion, into discipline, loyalty, compassion, and other elements. That, the understanding of race and religion as lita'arafu, I think mentioned by our Shaykhul Islam, by our keynote speaker, that lita'arafu must be the concept, not only understanding, respect each other. If we go to the detailed discussion on lita'arafu, not only knowing each other, but also respecting each other. That, I think, the key word, like our Prophet ﷺ, when one of the Jews passed away, he even though stand up and give respect to that janazah. And the friends asked, why Prophet, you stand up and that was not a Muslim? Then our Prophet said, he's also mankind, and I must respect him. So I think that basically the principle of Islam, that even the non-Muslim, even the janazah on Muslim must be or should be respected. Then, if I were to share with you a little bit, that this is the chronology of Malaysia Madani in Malaysia. Because 1995, Dr. Anwar Ibrahim popularized Malaysia Madani at Festival Istiqlal, Jakarta. Because I know our friends from Indonesia, they have been talking about Madani much, much earlier than Malaysia. Then symposium, then later on, that as we see, that's basically the chronology of the Malaysia Madani. And this Madani concept, basically in Malaysia, accepted by all. When I had discussion with Christian, Indian, we were together in roundtable discussion, the Buddhist with India, they said that we have nothing, no problem, no qualm with the Malaysia Madani. Even though the crux of that discourse, basically on Islam. But they say that we have nothing. We can embrace that value as well. Meaning to say here, because we understand, first constitution in Islam in the world civilization is Sahifah Madinah. At that time, 50% Muslim, 30% Christian, 20% Jews, and some Zoroastrian. Then Sahifah Madinah, or Constitution Madinah, governed the whole society at that time. And that the very first of Madinah society or Masyarakat Madani or Madani society that formed and led by Prophet ﷺ. And later, it was discussed further by Al-Farabi through Madinatul Fadilah, Ibn Maskawah, Al-Mujtama' Al-Madani, Ibn Khaldun, Umar al-Khadari. And later, it was extended to Malay world here, and also interaction between the West and Andalusia, because at that time, Andalusia was the greatest civilization on earth at that time. And Western scholars also learn from Andalusia, even though, okay, in their contact, they basically put aside the religious part, the spiritual part of Masyarakat Madani that they developed later as civil society in the Western world. Because at that time, actually, Western world was in the dark ages. Only after they interact with Andalusia Muslim, then the West become enlightened, Renaissance. So basically, Islam taught them how to be a civilized society, even though in their contact, they put aside religion in their encounter for the civil society. Then, of course, Malay world being touched as well with that concept of Madani in that context. Of course, later on, in century 16, then
การขว้างเสาหินเนี่ยมันก็เป็นหนึ่งจากองค์ประกอบสำคัญที่เราจะต้องปฏิบัติกันและก็ทำกันเป็นเวลาต่อเนื่องซึ่งปัจจุบันนี้ก็มีการขยายพื้นที่มีการเพิ่มชั้นเพื่อที่จะรองรับและมีการแบ่งส่วนกันอย่างชัดเจน
Islam introduced Sahifah Madinah, basically peaceful coexistence of various religions and race and creed. Only 18th century, the Magna Charta of France being adopted. 1,000 years after that. Meaning to say Islam far more advanced in many ways, in many fields, whether law or economics or science, and also into a political realm, how to develop, how to govern the society at large. Okay, this is definition by the Surah Anwar in 1996 after Festival Istiqlal. I just move forward. This is the acronym of that Madani to be kemampanan, kesejahteraan, daya cipta, hormat, keyakinan, and ihsan in English, as mentioned earlier. Then, of course, the principle, because some attack that Malaysia Madani is not Islamic, come from John Hobbes and so on. No. As I mentioned earlier, the chronology is very clear, one thing. Secondly, it comes from that we have to change our people with our own self. Inna Allah la yughayru ma biqawmin hatta yughayru ma bi anfusihim. Verily, never will Allah change the fate of a people until they change themselves. Ra'adum. Amar ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. Cooperate in righteousness and not in sin. Wa ta'awanu 'alal birri wa taqwa wa la ta'awanu 'alal ismi wal 'udwan. To bring, I would say, reform. In uridu ila al-islah mastata. Getting to know each other, lita'arafu, as I mentioned earlier, regardless of religion and race and creed. And of course, invite with truth, with wisdom, passion, and love. That is in the principle of Islam. So that requirement, no need for me to go to detail of this. And then priority that set starting from end of 2022 in terms of promoting this, reducing the salary, abolishing toll, and many other things actually. And also, basically, one other important thing that we can create or foster coexistence through economic control or economic sharing of cakes of economics. That's why I think the Prime Minister also encouraged the element of Madani indicator in terms of ranking, in terms of competitiveness, and a few other things here. And then here, a movement to really push the Malaysia Madani in terms of tarbiyah, in terms of knowledge culture, empowering NGOs, in terms of SME, small medium enterprise, in terms of monetary justice under Madani, in terms of movement of consensus politics and national spirit. Then these are things basically the element of leadership we have to nurture to push the Malaysia Madani. I think it's okay. I don't want to delve in detail. then value chain. Then of course, I think we are on the early part of Malaysia Madani. Then we need, I think, more of that changing, thing of norms of culture, lifestyle, and so on. And of course, we are in the process as well developing the Madani Index that basically address to sustainability index, nature sustainability, education quality, community harmony index, governance integrity index, quality of life, public safety, family togetherness, cost of living, public health index, cost of living index, basic need index, food security, social justice index, and Sharia compliance index. Next, this is basically the approach to, I would say, push that agenda of Malaysia Madani. Then, in terms of economy, again, another element that we stress by Malaysia Madani, among other things, in terms of investment, infrastructure, in terms of Tibet, in terms of strengthening Malaysia's position as a global leader in Islamic financing, and also green investment. And new economic model, which I think we have to develop as well, not really of the socialist model or capitalist model, but we have to build a new sustainable Islamic economic model in our context as well. Okay, this I think basically leadership that's important, which I think our Prime Minister is trying to push very much on this, because finally the leader are the one who really being emulated by society at large in terms of driving the Malaysia Madani. Okay, of course, this must be become, and I think the day before yesterday, the Chief Secretary of State of the government, I think basically deal more detail about Malaysia Madani to all civil servants in Malaysia. Then last but not least, of course, I think finally it is a process of learning. Our Prophet ﷺ mentioned clearly, min al-mahdi ila al-lahdi, from cradle to graveyard. Or Chinese said, hua taulau, shue taulau. Or the Indian said, kalbi pirampu mutal, yirapi barai. That I think basically, and of course I think there is a very positive note I think in future in terms of even though challenges here and there, in terms of disparity still I think we have to address too. In terms of identity and integration, still there are room for improvement still.
และการลงทุนของไทยนะคะทำให้ทุกอย่างหยุดชะงักลงไปนะคะแต่เมื่อปีประมาณ 2565 เนี่ยที่มีการไปเจริญความสัมพันธ์โดยท่านนายกรัฐมนตรีนะคะพลเอกประยุทธ์จันทร์โอชาค่ะที่ได้ไปเจริญความสัมพันธ์ทางการกับทางซาอุหมายก็คือทำให้ภาคการลงทุนการค้าและการลงทุนเนี่ยกลับมามีดีขึ้นกว่าเดิมแล้วก็ทาง SFDA นะคะหรือทาง Saudi Food Authority Food SFDA นะคะของทางซาอุดิอาระเบียให้การยอมรับในหน่วยการรับรองหรือทางซีคอร์ดของเรานะคะคือสำนักงานคณะกรรมการการอิสลามของเราค่ะแล้วก็เปิดโอกาสให้ผู้ประกอบการจำนวน11โรงงานนะคะที่สามารถทำการส่งออกสินค้าพวกกลุ่มสัตว์ปีกไทยไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียได้ค่ะก็คือที่ขึ้นทะเบียนไว้แล้วนะคะ11โรงงานค่ะก็หลังจากที่มีการเปิดทุกอย่างแล้วคือมีการส่งเป็นตู้ปฐมฤกษ์นะคะในเรื่องของการส่งออกไก่เนี่ยก็คือทำให้การส่งออกไก่ของเราเริ่มดีขึ้นแต่ว่าพอเมื่อประมาณปี66-67เนี่ยการส่งออกไก่เนี่ยกลับลดลงค่ะก็คือมันจะเกิดปัญหาในด้านของการค้าหรือไม่ก็ในเรื่องของมาตรฐานของประเทศคู่ค้าค่ะทางบทความนี้นะคะคือเราก็มีวัตถุประสงค์นะคะหนึ่งก็คือเราต้องการที่จะศึกษาการส่งออกสินค้ากลุ่มสัตว์ปีกฮาลาลของผู้ประกอบการไทยในประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียค่ะสองนะคะคือศึกษากระบวนการการผลิตของสินค้ากลุ่มสัตว์ปีกของผู้ประกอบการไทยในประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียค่ะเราต้องการหาในกระบวนการการผลิตในเรื่องของต้นน้ำและยันปลายน้ำนะคะในเรื่องของซัพพลายเชนค่ะสามค่ะคือเพื่อศึกษาโอกาสและความท้าทายระหว่างประเทศไทยและซาอุดิอาระเบียในด้านของสินค้ากลุ่มสัตว์ปีกนะคะคือเราจะนำมาวิเคราะห์SWOT analysis นะคะในเรื่องของการหาโอกาสและความท้าทายที่ว่าเรามีจุดแข็งหรือจุดอ่อนอะไรที่สามารถที่จะตีคู่แข่งกับของทางบราซิลได้ค่ะสี่นะคะคือเพื่อจะทำแนวทางพัฒนาสำหรับมาตรฐานการส่งออกสินค้ากลุ่มสัตว์ปีกไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียค่ะ การวิจัยของเรานะคะเราได้ทำการวิจัยเชิงคุณภาพล้วนนะคะก็คือในการสัมภาษณ์เชิงลึกกับทางผู้เชี่ยวชาญที่มีความรู้ความเข้าใจในด้านของการส่งออกสินค้าไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียแล้วก็ผู้ประกอบการที่ได้รับการขึ้นทะเบียนกับทาง SFDA นะคะใน11โรงงานค่ะแล้วก็ในเรื่องของการวิเคราะห์ในเรื่องของข้อมูลต่างๆค่ะในเรื่องของการตอบผลการวิจัยที่ตอบวัตถุประสงค์ของเรานะคะการส่งออกสินค้าไทยไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียเนี่ยเราจะผ่านในประเทศไทยเนี่ยจะมี2หน่วยงานนะคะที่จะดูแลในเรื่องของการส่งออกก็คือในเรื่องของหน่วยงานของ DIB หรือกรมปศุสัตว์นะคะจะดูในเรื่องของสุขอนามัยในการทำฟาร์มหรือการในโรงเชือดต่างๆค่ะแล้วก็ทางซีคอร์ดค่ะสำนักงานคณะกรรมการการอิสลามจะดูในเรื่องของมาตรฐานฮาลาลค่ะแล้วก็ผู้ประกอบการที่จะทำการส่งออกไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียเนี่ยต้องได้รับการขึ้นทะเบียนของทาง Saudi Food and Drug Authority ด้วยค่ะแนวทางการปฏิบัติในการส่งออกสินค้าไปยังประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียนะคะคือสถานประกอบการที่ต้องการส่งออกประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียเนี่ยลงเชือดและลงเป็นรูปเนี่ยต้องได้รับการขึ้นทะเบียนกับทาง SFDA ค่ะ2นะคะคือต้องได้รับการเชื่อตามมาตรฐาน GSO.S 993 Motion 2015 ค่ะแล้วก็ถ้าเชื่อมาตรฐานตามมาตรฐาน GSO.S 993 Motion 2015 เนี่ยต้องมีการแจ้งให้ผู้คุมการเชื่อที่ประจำสถานประกอบการหรือทางซีคอร์ดทราบและมีการบันทึกทุกครั้งนะคะเพราะว่าด้วยความที่มาตรฐานนี้เป็นมาตรฐานของการทำนอนสตันค่ะก็ต้องมีการจดบันทึกอยู่ตลอดเวลาว่าสัตว์นี้ไม่ได้มีการผ่านการทำสลบนะคะแล้วก็ในการขนย้ายเนื้อสัตว์ต่างๆจะต้องมีใบ movement control document นะคะในการที่มีการเคลื่อนย้ายสัตว์หรือไปยังโรงแปรรูปหรืออะไรเงี้ยค่ะโอเคค่ะแล้วก็เอกสารควบคุมการขนย้ายสัตว์เนี่ยก็จะมีการตรวจสอบเป็นล็อตว่าล็อตนี้มีการขนย้ายไปที่ไหนโดยมีการตรวจสอบจากผู้คุมการเชื่อเพื่อยืนยันว่าสัตว์เนี้ยไม่ได้ทำสตันนะคะก็สถานประกอบการที่ต้องการส่งเนื้อสดให้ใช้เอกสาร shipment halal certificate นะคะเป็นเอกสารที่ออกโดยทาง CCOT นะคะควบคู่กับการขนย้ายเนื้อยื่นที่กรมส่งเสริมการค้าระหว่างประเทศค่ะแล้วก็การสถานประกอบการที่จะแปรรูปต้องการส่งออกสินค้าผลิตที่เป็นสำเร็จรูปต้องมีเอกสารกำกับการส่งออกควบคู่กับเอกสารการขนย้ายเนื้อนะคะแล้วก็ใบรับรองสถานประกอบการด้วยทุกครั้งที่มีการส่งออกค่ะโดยนำไปยื่นที่กรมส่งเสริมการค้าระหว่างประเทศค่ะอันนี้คือหน้าตาของใบ certificate ของทาง CCOT นะคะก็จะมีเรื่องของมาตรฐานฮาลาลแล้วก็มีในเรื่องของ movement control นะคะอันนี้เป็นมาตรฐาน GAP ค่ะที่จะออกโดยทางกรมปศุสัตว์ค่ะคือเวลาเราทุกฟาร์มค่ะจะต้องได้รับมาตรฐาน GAP คือการปฏิบัติทางการเกษตรที่ดีในเรื่องของฟาร์มไก่เนื้อค่ะคือการไม่ใช้ฮอร์โมนหรือสารเร่งนะคะคือการใช้มาตรฐาน GAP เข้ามาค่ะก็จะได้รับมาตรฐานนี้ที่ออกโดยทางกรมปศุสัตว์หรือ DLD นะคะอันนี้เป็นมาตรฐานภาษาค่ะที่มาตรฐานทั่วไปต้องได้รับอยู่แล้วอันนี้ทางซาอุดิอาระเบียก็ดูในเรื่องของมาตรฐานสากลนี้ทั่วไปด้วยค่ะอันนี้เป็นใบอนามัยนะคะที่ออกโดยกรมปศุสัตว์หรือ DLD ค่ะในเรื่องของการที่จะส่งออกไปทางซาอุดิอาระเบียค่ะผลการวิจัยตอบวัตถุประสงค์ข้อที่2นะคะข้อที่2คือเราศึกษาในเรื่องของกระบวนการการผลิตเราพบว่าปัญหาในเรื่องของการส่งออกเนี่ยมันเป็นปัญหาตั้งแต่ต้นน้ำลงไปน้ำคือในเรื่องของ supply chain นะคะในเรื่องของการทำ farming ก็คือในเรื่องของวัฒนธรรมการรับรู้ถึงวัฒนธรรมการบริโภคของคนซาอุดิอาระเบียซึ่งคนซาอุดิอาระเบียบริโภคไก่เป็นตัวเล็กซึ่งประเทศไทยเนี่ยได้พันธุ์ไก่มาจากทางต่างประเทศซึ่งเป็นพันธุ์ไก่ตัวใหญ่ขนาดประมาณ 2.5 กิโลซึ่งทางประเทศซาอุดิอาระเบียบริโภคความต้องการของลูกค้าของประเทศซาอุดีเนี่ยต้องการที่800 กรัมจนถึง1 กิโลค่ะซึ่งเราอาจจะยังไม่ตอบโจทย์ในเรื่องของการส่งไก่เป็นตัวให้กับทางซาอุดิอาระเบียค่ะ2นะคะในเรื่องของมาตรฐานฮาลาลค่ะมาตรฐานฮาลาลนะคะก็จะมีในเรื่องของ
understanding the principle of Tawheed, the oneness of God, and cultivating a profound spiritual awareness. About the correct religious practice and moral development, Islamic education aims to ensure the Muslim practice their religion correctly, in line with the teaching of the Quran and Sunnah. This includes performing acts of worship with sincerity and understanding, as well as developing a strong moral character based on Islamic ethics and values.
Based on three key. Actually, the three key we cannot separate because it's according to one to each other. But if I should choose one, actually the creative imagination is the one thing that blow our mind because without limitations. Because based on our religious moderations, we cannot just think that we are one's rights, but everyone can do many things. So I think creative imagination, we giving so many people to everyone from the no matter their background to giving their voice, like their same rights and equal. I think the creative imagination is a prominent thing to achieve. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone can ask some question for Mr. Okay, please, Ajahn, please.
I come across a few papers from Indonesia.
Yeah.
The situation in Indonesia is opposite something.
Yeah.
Okay, with Thailand. Okay, but the first thing I like to ask: how do you define gender inequality? Because we are different, men and women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Would you answer this question so that I understand the
What's inclusion? We don't live in exclusion methods, and then help mitigate tensions. And then number two, about the challenges in Sharia implemented regions. As we know that we have one special region, such as in Aceh, they use a different law. They use a Sharia law, and of course there is a conflict in them in implementing their law. But even though there is a conflict in a local regulation to national legal policies in anti-discrimination, but we still trying to still trying. If we talk still trying, there is often a struggle in big letter to the smooth way to talk about this. Because in Aceh they are special. We can say they are special, so they have special treatment from our country in implementing the laws, such as there is only one bank in Aceh. There are no national bank or international bank. There is only Sharia bank in Aceh. So there is still struggling in Aceh. The big one is in Aceh. And then affirmative action in education. Actually, this is when we talk about university. We also have a kind of policies in anti-discrimination in all of universities. So this in our university, we even though we are Islamic university, we have students from other religion. We have a student from Papua. Papua is Christian. They are Christian, and they don't wear hijab. They don't wear the hijab. They are women, but they don't wear hijab. We accept them, and of course there is no discrimination. We have legal policies in our university to make them feel like there are no minorities. Okay, actually. In Indonesia, for minorities, Muslim or enrollment by increases by 15% in the state universities. And this is a public universities in Indonesia. This is the report from Ministry of Indonesian Education. Furthermore, there is also inconsistent law, of course. There is also inconsistent, I think, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries. There is sometimes inconsistent law and lack of awareness in promoting equality. Even though we already have the legal policies or the laws, but in practices we often face inconsistency. This is the final result of our paper, the challenges in integrating law and science to improve social harmony. The first one is, of course, about the differences.
And involving of halal policy. So actually, our faculty is also having the halal industry halal courses from BBA, MBA, and also PhD. So I'm much involved with the halal policy. I think that the development of halal policy is quite important nowadays. And also due to the implementation of the governments currently, I think that our former Prime Minister already exists. It's already, we keep changing, the Prime Minister because of some of the, justice. And then the implementation of the halal policy is quite important to continue and make the implementations. So let's come up with a bit that I'm trying to make up, like mixings between the soft power, how soft power is relevant to the halal policy. What is the soft power? Actually, soft power is the power when the government try to set up the plan to develop the ability, knowledge, and creativity. And also it's reflecting to some of the innovation approach. The policies has main objective as the following. You can see from here: to develop the nation's economy, to overcome the middle income trap. I think that it is the right things that everyone facing this particular issue, the middle income trap. A lot of people, cannot exist from the middle income trap, and also to help the people to escape from the poverty. So the halal policy will be developed, especially for those who come up with the halal products in many factors. But when we talk to halal products, we might be thinking almost with the food product only. We are not talking much about the medicine. We are not much talking about the fashions. We're not talking about the entertainment, which also quite optional for the Muslim to play a role of halal policy according to the government that they try to approach. In case that we try to see the halal incomes from outside, Thailand is ranked number 15 for exporting halal. It's quite far away from the achievements. Brazil is number 1. I think India is number 2. But we are so far away to achievement because we just only focus for food products, and we get a lot of, I think, difficulty for the halal certified. And then the current Prime Minister, I think the current Prime Minister, okay, we call her Ung Ing, it's the same of my age. She's also the head of TECCA, Thailand's creative culture
or
See.
KMF is also arranged
So
about
she's
halal
also the
products
chef.
such as food and beverage. So sometimes we can use, if we go to South Korea, we can use Movco application. You can scan the barcode on the products, and then you can get the information about factories, about the ingredients, is that containing by pork or alcohol. So there are a lot of food and beverage products that contain pork and alcohol. It will be much safer if a Muslim cooks for daily eating purposes. So here's the mind map about interaction. There are purposes and forms, and for the first purpose is a group that aims to increase spiritual power. One of the informants, who is a doctoral degree student, explained that living in South Korea is certainly not as easy as Indonesia, of course. Unsupportive environmental influences sometimes keep humans away from religion because the environmental is not supporting you as a Muslim. Therefore, religious activities such as holding recitation are needed to increase faith or spiritual strength in Muslim minority countries. So it's important if you live in a minority country, then you can came to the program that held by the mosque. So studying the Quran can help him not to fall into bad things as well as misunderstandings and plunge. He said, so with religious activities such as reciting Quran, it makes me balance between intellectual, spiritual, and emotional. Actually, my research is based on interview with my informants. So the second is a group that aims to get life guidance. In the Quran, the commands and prohibitions that must be obeyed by every Muslim are explained. With the Quran, they feel more purposeful life, as conveyed by one of the students at one of the universities in Daegu City. According to him, the Quran is a guide to know the correct procedure for worship. And he said studying the Quran is important because we live in this world with the goal of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Quran is one of the guidelines for how to worship. And then the last one is the group of informants who aim to meet social needs because in their factories or their university, there are no any people from Indonesia. So commonly, they come to the masjid to follow the program. Is also for aim to meet social needs. So one of the informants admitted that social interaction was one of his goals to attend the recitation program, of course, held by the mosque. Chatting with fellow Muslims, especially with fellow Indonesian citizens. So here's the forms of interaction. The first one is the informants read the Quran both individually or communally in masjid. Some informants routinely recite selected surahs on certain nights, like in Indonesia, we used to recite the Surah Yasin at Friday night. It's something like that, such surah like Al-Kahfi, Al-Mulk, Al-Waqi'ah. So this is based on the belief that reading the selected surahs can get benefits from each surah. In the book of Majmu Sharif, the recitation of Surah Al-Kahfi aims to protect oneself from the slander of the Dajjal in the last days. Or another example is the recitation of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, which is widely believed to be a useful surah to avoid poverty and difficulties, as well as to facilitate the earning livelihood. Many information also do Tadarus Al-Quran, as usual, from the first surah, that is Al-Fatihah, until An-Nas. So, secondly, after the author has analyzed me, the informants who study the Quran individually used two methods, namely reading translations and listening to lectures. Commonly in South Korea, the masjids have a program, one program per year that invite like Habib, Sheikh, or Ustad from Indonesia to come to South Korea and then give a speech, talk about Islamic teachings. So this is impact. Theologically, the Quran serves as a guide to worship that brings us closer to Allah. The Quran is also a guideline for life, providing guidance on the afterlife and motivating Muslims to live their lives in accordance with his teachings. So the importance of reading the Quran as an act of worship becomes clear in shaping religious understanding, strengthening spirituality, and guiding the daily behavior of Muslims. From a psychological perspective, reading the Quran provides calmness, copes with stress, and then improves mental well-being. It's also in research conducted by a psychiatrist named Dr. Al-Qadi, has been corroborated by a study presented at a North American Islamic Medicine Conference in 1984. In the report submitted at the conference, it was stated that the Quran has been proven to provide up to 97% tranquility to those who listen to it. And from a social perspective, interaction with the Quran forms ethical and moral norms in society and strengthens social bonds in the Muslim community. Reading the Quran can form morality and ethics in society, especially in South Korea. The values contained in the Quran, such as justice, honesty, and compassion, can be the foundation for good social behavior. This can create a society that is more aware of religious norms, generate positive social interactions, and reduce harmful behavior. So this is the implications in religiosity in South Korea. The study of the Quran can be a tool to educate and explain Islamic values to non-Muslims, because there are a lot bad stigma to Muslim because the attack of 9/11, if you remember, in America. So this is the today, 9/11, and that makes the locals scared about that attack. So some of them being racist to Muslim in South Korea, especially me as a Muslimah. Of course, I'm wearing the hijab, and then they're always asked like, "Why are you wearing this? This is summer. This is so hot." And this is Islamic teachings. And then I tried to explain clearly about what is Islam. However, at the same time, it can create a deeper awareness and understanding of Islamic religious norms within a cultural and legal framework that may be different. Overall, understanding the Quran in Muslim minority countries can contribute to the formation of religious identity, interfaith relation, and harmony in diverse societies. So I think it's enough. Thank you. Khairukum man alama Quran wa alama wallahul muwafiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the good presentation and insightful presentation. And now we have a 5-minute time for the question. Please raise your hand. Okay, my student from the.
My question is.
Muslim population. The state is not bound by Islamic law in its constitution. Inclusive Islam was built in Indonesia to accommodate 5 other religions other the Pancasila ideology with the form of rule of law. Okay. This is a hierarchy of Sharia economic law. Then basis philosophy of the state is Pancasila. Then under Pancasila is constitutional law of 45. Then law of the Republic Indonesia number 21 about Sharia banking. Then under the compilation of Sharia economic law. The impact of Islamic about Sharia banking, first established of Sharia financial institution when The manifesto is Indonesian Syariah Bank, kemudian Syariah Shop, and Syariah Insurance. And kemudian second, tradition practice are legalist in Syariah regulation. Kemudian third, increasing the halal industry in Indonesia. Kemudian and fourth, giving birth to Muslim entrepreneur in Indonesia. Okay. Indonesian legal landscape is characterized by a unique approach, characterized by balance between embracing and accommodation Sharia principle within a broad legal framework. Some scholars note that Indonesia has neither category adopt nor category reject the teaching of Sharia. However, it is navigate different pathway that allow from dynamic interaction between religious and secular legal system. Okay. Then the basic teaching of the Constitution summarizes that every citizen is obligated to respect human rights, where every citizen is obliged to obey the state and has the right to choose and practice their respective religion and belief. Okay. Some people may see this as an antithesis to Indonesia's secular concept because Syariah banking operation must fully follow Islamic law and not national law. The country decided to implement a Sharia banking system and improve special law to manage Sharia bank. This assertion was valid in the province of Law Number 21, 2008, concerning Sharia banking, which bring synergy between religious teaching and state regulation. This is data innovation of Sharia sector economic growth data. Then conclusion, this research provide an in-depth analysis the impact of Islamic regulation on legal fight in Indonesia, showing the complex coexistence of various legal systems, where state law, customary family practice, and religious principle interact sometimes, leading to harmony or tension. Customary practice within a secular legal framework, the merging of customary financial customs such as bondage, rent, and pound with Islamic principle reveal an interesting common ground. This practice, rooted in historical and cultural context, often with Islamic ethics, such as justice and risk sharing with communal norm of reciprocity. At the same time, this practice offers practical solutions, but there are emerging challenges, including error made by intermediaries and potential dispute with the customary institution and alternative dispute resolution system. Recognizing the socio-economic importance of this practice, formal integration into the legal system emerged an appropriate solution. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. In your country, do you have the commercial bank?
Yes.
And Islamic bank also, right?
Yes. Right.
In your opinion, you can say your Islamic bank is pure 100%.
ภาคหนึ่งเนี่ยเขาก็ยังเรียกว่าเป็นเขตมีนาอยู่
นะครับถ้าเกิดว่านักธรณีวิทยาเขาเรียกว่าสันปันน้ำครับถ้าเกิดว่าอยู่ฝั่งสันปันน้ำที่หันมาหาภายในเนี่ยนับว่ายังมีนาอยู่นะครับสันเขานะครับ
ใช่มีตรงกลางเป็นตัวกึ่งกลางใช่ไหมครับ
ครับผม
ดังนั้นตรงที่เราอยู่กันเต็นท์คนไทยเนี่ยยังอยู่ตรงพื้นที่มีนาอีกครั้งหนึ่งครับมีนาคือระหว่างสองเขาดังด้านทิศเหนือนี่เรียกว่าซอเบียถ้าเราอยู่ระหว่างสองเขาเนี่ยตรงไหนก็เรียกมีนาตามคำของอิหมัมชาฟีอีเราตามคำของบรรดาปราชญ์ทั้งหลายนะครับ ขออภัยนะครับผมหลงทิศนิดหนึ่งเหนือทางด้านทิศเหนือคือด้านบนเลยถูกไหมครับทางด้านทิศเหนือคือซาบีรนะครับทางด้านทิศใต้ก็คือตามทิศที่เราเห็นเลยครับทางใต้ก็คือซอเบียนะครับทางฝั่งตะวันตกก็คืออากอบะทางฝั่งตะวันออกก็คือวาดีมุฮัสซิรขออนุญาตแก้ไขนะครับทางเหนือคือซาบีรตรงนี้แหละทางเหนือเนี่ยตรงที่นบีอิสมาอีลกับนบีอิบรอฮีมรับคำบัญชาของอัลลอฮฺซุบฮานะฮูวะตะอาลาเกี่ยวกับการเชื่อซึ่งเราก็เคยได้ทราบได้รู้กันที่อยากจะเน้นตรงนี้ก่อนที่จะไปคุยเรื่องมัสอาละห์นั่นก็คือว่าคนไทยอยู่ในเขตที่เรียกว่ามีนากอตอัน
ทีนี้อาจารย์ครับผมสงสัยนิดนึงครับพอดีอาจารย์พูดถึงเรื่องอาณาเขตมีนาแล้วผมเห็นแหว่งตรงนั้นที่อาจารย์บอกว่ามีอุโมงค์ใช่ไหมครับสมมุติว่าต่อไปข้างหน้าเขาขยายพื้นที่ตรงนั้นแล้วก็เป็นมีนาอย่าดีกว่า นะก็ยังถือว่าเป็นพื้นที่เขตมีนาอยู่ดีถ้าตามอาณาเขตที่อาจารย์มูอาซบอกว่านับตั้งแต่สันปันน้ำลงมาระหว่างใจกลางเขาลาดยาวลงมาถือว่าหันไปทางทิศอีกภูเขาอีกด้านหนึ่งน่ะก็ถือว่าทุกพื้นที่เข้าข่ายพื้นที่มีนาทั้งหมดอย่างนั้นใช่ไหมอาจารย์
ใช่ครับถ้าสมมุติว่าเขาตั้งแคมป์เขาจัดกระโจมบนไหล่เขาตราบใดที่มันยังอยู่ฝั่งที่เผชิญกับเขาอีกลูกหนึ่งก็ยังคือพื้นที่มีนาเอาเป็นว่าตามคำพูดของอิหมัมชาฟีอีเนี่ยขุนเขาเนี่ยมันแค่ไหนปักตรงกลางและซีกที่หันเจอกับภูเขาอีกด้านหนึ่งนั่นคือเขตมีนาครับ
In 2001 in Ambon, it is the conflict because of our diversity in religion and the lack of tolerance among us. Yeah. To overcome this problem, so some of us perform Kliwon or Kliwon free day ritual tradition. And my question first, do you know Kliwon? Hello, participant? Kliwon, do you know? Kliwon. Kliwon is one of Javanese day. Okay, one of Javanese day. We have two kind of day, like Friday, Monday, and another. But we also have a traditional day. One of them is Kliwon. Yeah. Kliwon is one of 5 Javanese day. It means we have Wage, Kliwon, Legi, Paing, Pon. Would you repeat after me to mention that days? Okay? Wage, Kliwon, Legi, Paing, Pon. Okay, good. Applause for you. Okay. Kliwon is considered the most spirituality potent days. Supernatural forces are more active, associated with rituals, meditation, or religious practices, and full of myth. Full of myth, it is regarded that all of satanic forms like tuyul, you know tuyul? No? Pocong? You know? Okay. Ever see tuyul or pocong? Kuntilanak will rise, will come among us at Friday, but it is just a myth. And on the other side, we know Friday is Sayyidul Ayam, the best day, the master of the day for Muslim. When it meets one another in 35 day, it's called pasaran or selapan. It becomes full of meaning. Okay. On my research, I just limited my research on 2 locations. The first is on the Wonobodro graveyard. Tombs of some Muslim, some scholar, famous scholar Muslim, and Waliullah. And what are the pilgrims do when they perform ritual tradition? reading specific verses from Al-Quran, Yasin, Al-Waqi'ah, Al-Mulk, and another verses, Salawat, Tahlil, performing with it, Tawasul, Zikir, and another praying. This is the complex of the Wonobodro graveyard. This is the main tombs, like in Rawdah, the main tombs, and it is surrounded by another tombs. And this is the pilgrims who reciting some verses of Al-Quran, praying, dhikir, tawasul, and other activities. And the second place is Wonoyoso Blessed Well. This is the well after it was renovated, taking water from this well. And it is located in Pekalongan, Central Java, approximately 400 from Jakarta. And we live over there. Adult, children, and elderly pilgrims engage in purification rituals, using water from the holy well and partaking in ablution or bathing. So they take bath, they bathing, and also take the water and bring it to their home. It is regarded as a blessed water after bathing in this place. So, what is the meaning of Kliwon Friday ritual for the pilgrims? The first meaning is the submission to the Almighty, the surrender to the Almighty. The purpose of this pilgrimage is to express submission to the Almighty. They surrender their life to the Almighty, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and the pilgrims regarded that these two places is a special place, is high esteem, and believing them to possess a sacred and blessed nature. They perform this ritual with the intention of attaining peace and fulfilling their spiritual needs. As one of our resources say, Tanuri, they said that by often praying and reading Tahlil here every Kliwon Friday, it makes me feel calmer, and so on. And the second meaning is creating a blessed, calm, and peaceful soul and life. Almost all the visitors expressed that seeking a calm, safe, peaceful, and blessed life is one of their motivation for performing the Friday Kliwon ritual. Az-Zairun yash'uruna bisalam wal itmi'nan was-sakinah ba'da hudurihim ila hadal makan. Ba'dal ghusl bil ma' al-ma' laisa zamzam but al-ma' hum yash'uruna anna hadal ma' muhtalif bil ma' alladhi fil makan al-akhar. This is the second meaning of ritual Friday Kliwon for the pilgrims, as said by Latifah, our respondents of our informants. My goal in participating in Kliwonan is to seek blessing and seek help from God so that I can lead a peaceful life and have my needs fulfilled. I seek guidance for my life, seeking help from the giver of life so that life is no chaotic and has a clear direction. So, what does it imply for the harmonious life? The Friday Kliwon ritual is aimed to attaining peace and tranquility in life, enabling individuals to confront life challenges without generating additional problems, overcoming the problem not by adding the problem, not creating more problems. Surrendering to the God is deemed to be the key to managing problems effectively and fostering peace of mind. This practice emphasizes the significance of maintaining harmony with others in plurality, regardless of their religious, tribal, or educational differences. Through surrendering to the God, individuals can find inner peace and embrace diverse viewpoints and beliefs, thereby cultivating a tolerant and harmonious attitude essential for promoting respectful and peaceful social relationship among plural community. So the more they go to the sacred thumb, to the sacred well, the more harmonious life will be created in their daily activities. And my finding is aligned with the finding of previous researches before me, like Santiago in 2023. They said that furthermore, religious rituals are crucial in shaping cultural identity, reinforcing social cohesion, social unity, and providing a sense of belonging, which is essential for harmonious living. Also, what Wong McDonald and Gorsuch in 2000 found in their study that the reduction in stress due to surrendering to the God can lead to more harmonious interaction within social setting, as lower stress levels are associated with better emotional regulation and interpersonal relationship. So, what does this research imply in practical areas? First, in order to promote harmony, respect for minorities, and maintain social equilibrium, it is essential to educate the community about the positive aspect of the Kliwon Friday tradition. And the last one is for the stakeholder like government and also community leader, they should collaborate to incorporate this tradition into educational program and community activities to spread the value, the positive contribution of this traditional tradition of tolerance and respect for differences. This is all of my presentation. I hope that it bring us some positive insight to fruitful discussion. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the Dr. Kafis. If you have any question, please raise your hand, okay? The microphone, please.
Hello.
We have 5 minutes for the question.
This ritual, does this ritual contradict Islamic teachings? And in your opinion, could this ritual spread to other places, and why and what are its benefits? Thank you.
Does the ritual align with the Islamic teaching? Okay.
Injectics.
Oh yeah. Reciting some verses, reciting dhikr or performing dhikr, performing tahlil in Friday night. Yeah, in some places, in some verses, in some hadiths of Rasulullah is injected. We can find some verses that make us to do that. Okay, so some of Muslim regard that it is one of our teaching. Almost not of Muslim believed that it comes from our Prophet, but it is Islam. We have so many branch of understanding, so many kind of believing. So yes, ikhtalafu ummati rahmatun. Okay. Is there any places that it is believed be placed or yahmilunal barakah. Not all places, but only certain places, like a tomb of Waliullah, placed well, yeah, because the well that I study in this year, it always it always give us its water. Almost it is in summer season, okay, like Zam-Zam well. So it always give the community, the people, the water they need. And around that well placed, we can find some tombs of some graveyard of some famous scholar Muslim in Pekalongan. So some of Muslim are regarded that it is a blessed places. Okay. Do you understand? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Dr. Kafis, to present the insightful presentation. And the next one, we have a limit time. Normally, we should finish in 4 o'clock. And now we have a 5.
ผมว่าเขาไม่ได้ตันแค่ดาลินตัวนี้ตัวเดียวหรอกอาจารย์มันยังมีดาลินตัวอื่นไหมครับ
เขามองกันว่านะครับการละหมาดเอาจริงๆเลยอย่างเรื่องการไปมักกะฮ์เนี่ยก็เป็นพิธีฮัจญ์ที่นั่นแต่ว่าฮุจญาตทุกคนรวมถึงคนทำอุมเราะห์ด้วยก็ลืมไม่ได้เลยการไปเยี่ยมท่านรอซูลศ็อลลัลลอฮุอะลัยฮิวะซัลลัมที่นครมะดีนะห์และโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งฤดูฮัจญ์เนี่ยเวลาไปเยี่ยมแล้วเนี่ยเราก็มักจะคุยถึงการละหมาด40วักตูการละหมาด40เวลาติดต่อกันนะครับที่จะทำให้เราพ้นจากไฟนรกและความเป็นมุนาฟิกทีนี้นะครับนักวิชาการเขาบอกว่าการไปละหมาด40วักตูที่นครมะดีนะห์เนี่ยนะครับมันต้องละหมาดในเขตมัสยิดเก่านะครับซึ่งมัสยิดเก่าของท่านรอซูลน่ะพื้นที่มันโอ้โหทุกวันนี้ต้องตัดเสื้อไหมครับดร.ถึงจะเข้าไปได้เนี่ยครับเพราะฉะนั้นไอ้ที่เราละหมาดกันอยู่ทุกวันเนี่ยมันก็ละหมาดในมัสยิดใหม่ทั้งหมดแหละครับมัสยิดที่สร้างขึ้นมาใหม่ถามว่าเราจะได้ผลบุญภาคพลานิสงส์เหมือนกับละหมาดในมัสยิดเก่าหรือเปล่านักวิชาการก็บอกมันได้เพราะซอฟมันต่อกันมาเรื่อยๆซอฟมันต่อกันมายาวเพราะฉะนั้นเราละหมาดในมัสยิดใหม่เนี่ยเราก็ยังคงจะได้ภาคผลเหมือนเดิมเพราะฉะนั้นนักวิชาการกลุ่มนี้เขาก็มองกันว่านะครับเมื่อเราไปละหมาดเนี่ยนะครับเราวาญิบต้องตั้งซอฟติดกันผมอาจจะนอกเรื่องมาหน่อยครับอาจารย์เราวาญิบต้องตั้งซอฟติดกันเรียงกันมาเรื่อยๆต่อให้ซอฟมันจะยาวแค่ไหนก็แล้วแต่ก็ต้องต่อกันไปเรื่อยการพักในเขตรอบๆมีนาก็เช่นเดียวกันในเมื่อมันเลยออกจากมีนามาแล้วนะครับมันก็ต่อยาวต่อเต้นกันมาเรื่อยๆเพราะฉะนั้นลักษณะความเป็นวาญิบมันยังคงอยู่เหมือนเดิมครับประมาณนี้นะครับนักวิชาการผมอาจจะเรียบเรียงได้ไม่สวยงามเท่าไหร่ครับอาจารย์ตรงนี้
มันแปลว่าอาจารย์กำลังอ้างว่าเมื่อเต็นท์มันเรียงติดกันมาภาพของมันก็เปรียบได้ดังซอฟละหมาดที่ต่อกัน
ถูกต้องครับ
ภาคผลที่ได้จากการละหมาดมันก็เช่นเดียวกับที่เต็นท์มันต่อกันมาใช่ไหมครับ
ครับผม
ประมาณนั้น
เพราะฉะนั้นฮุกกลมมันก็น่าจะอิงมาจากที่เดียวกันครับในเมื่อการพักในมีนาเป็นวาญิบการพักต่อซอฟมาเนี่ยก็น่าจะเป็นเรื่องวาญิบเช่นเดียวกันครับอาจารย์
แต่ที่นี้มันจะต่างตรงหนึ่งสิตรงที่ว่าการละหมาดเนี่ยมันไม่ได้ถูกจำกัดว่ามีชะรัตจะซ้อไม่ซ้อต้องในมัสยิดนี่จุดต่างแต่การมาเบตนั้นถูกกำหนดเป็นเงื่อนไขว่าที่มีนาซอฮาบะห์ท่านบอกลายาบีตันนะอะฮะดุนลายาลีอามีนามิวะรออิลอักบะห์ไม่อนุญาตให้ใครทำการค้างแรมในคืนตัชริกทั้ง3เนี่ยนอกเขตมีนาก็คือเลยอักบะห์ไปอักบะห์ก็พื้นที่ที่อยู่ทางด้านทิศตะวันออกในภาพใช่ไหมครับที่เราคุยกันก็คือเลยเขตเสาหินไปอย่างนั้นนะครับตกใช่ไหมครับตะวันตกขอโทษครับผมสลับ หลายทีเลยครับต้องแก้กันหลายทีทางฝั่งที่ติดมักกะฮ์เขตมีนาที่ติดมักกะฮ์ตรงนั้นเรียกว่าอักบะห์ที่เดียวกันเลยครับที่บรรดาชาวอันซอรมาให้สัตยาบันกับรอซูลศ็อลลัลลอฮุอะลัยฮิวะซัลลัมที่เราเรียกว่าบัยอะห์อัลอักบะห์อัลอูลาวัสซานียะห์ก่อนที่จะเกิดการฮิจเราะห์ตรงนั้นเนี่ยซอฮาบะห์บอกทำการ มาเบดแล้วไม่ซอแต่การละหมาดนั้นไม่ได้กำหนดเงื่อนไขไว้ว่าจะต้องในมัสยิดเท่านั้นจึงจะซอดังนั้นตรงนี้ก็น่าจะเป็นอะไรที่เปรียบพร้อมกับมีจุดต่างที่ไม่ทำให้อุกมนั้นร่วมทางกันได้น่าจะพอสรุปประเด็นนี้ได้อาจารย์สลามมีหลักฐานประการใดเกี่ยวกับวาญิบสุนัตนะครับสุนัตมาเบดในพื้นที่นอกเขตมีนาไหมครับหากว่ามันแน่น
ผมว่าอาจารย์มูอาร์ตยกมาก็ยังมาไล่บี้ผมไม่ได้นะครับของผมว่ายังเหนืออยู่โดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งในเรื่องของการเปรียบเทียบอวัยวะเนี่ยเข้าทางผมเต็มเลย
ครับ
เพราะฉะนั้นฟังดูแล้วเนี่ยค่อนข้างจะหนักไปทางสุนัตเท่านั้นแหละครับในการจะไปมาเบรกข้างๆขอบสีแดงหรือนอกเขตมีนาที่เรากำลังพูดถึงอยู่ครับอาจารย์
ครับผมทั้งนั้นเราก็น่าจะอาศัยตัรจีฮ์ของบรรดาอุลามะปราชญ์ที่ให้น้ำหนักไว้ว่าหากว่ามีนามันแน่นจนเราไม่สามารถบรรจุตัวเองลงไปได้เลยการที่เราจะไปมาเบดใกล้พื้นที่ใกล้เคียงไม่ว่าจะฝั่งอักบาหรือฝั่งวาดีมุฮัสซิรก็ตามหรือว่าบนภูเขาซาบีรทางฝั่งเหนือภูเขาซอเบียทางฝั่งใต้ก็ตามทีถือว่าเป็นสุนัตเราอาจจะได้ผลบุญไม่น้อยกว่าก็ได้นะพี่น้องถ้าเราได้เก็บตกในรายละเอียดและก็มีความบริสุทธิ์ใจจริงๆเพราะคนที่อยู่มีนาเนี่ยมันอยู่นานพออยู่นานมันก็เริ่มเคยชินพอเคยชินก็มีฮุญญาตหลายคนที่มีความกังวลว่าเราจะทำตัวหละหลวมหรือเปล่าเดี๋ยวก็คุยกันเรื่องนู่นเรื่องนี้เพราะมันกินกันนอนจริงๆครับท่านดร.ใช่ไหมครับท่านบอบครับใช่ไหมครับกินกับนอนพอที่นี้กินอิ่มแล้วมันก็มีเรื่องคุยดังนั้นถ้าเราแม้จะมาเบดขอบมีนาก็จริงแต่ถ้าเราให้ความสำคัญต่อรายละเอียดของพิธีฮัจญ์เนี่ยอาจจะไม่น้อยกว่าก็ได้สิ่งที่อยากจะย้ำสุดท้ายเลยเกี่ยวกับเรื่องมีนาเนี่ยก็คือที่คนไทยเราพำนักอยู่นั่นคือเขตมีนาอัตอันแบบไม่ต้องคลางแคลงแบบไม่ต้องสงสัยเพราะมันถูกล้อมด้วยภูเขาสองลูกดังปรากฏในตัวบทก็คือภูเขาซาบีรซึ่งอยู่ทางฝั่งเหนือและเขาก็เจาะอุโมงค์ให้เราเดินลัดนะก็คืออุโมงค์คิงคอลิดนะครับมันอยู่ตรงเวิ้งในภาพขออนุญาตภาพขยายนิดนึงครั้งสุดท้ายครับเวิ้งนั้นเราอยู่ตรงนั้นครับแล้วก็มีอุโมงค์ตัดผ่านเห็นไหมครับอุโมงค์ผมมองไม่เห็นขึ้น
An economic function Nyadran Laut not only plays a role in religious aspect but also has social and economic function. The activity helps build solidarity and support the local economy. And 5, perception of religious moderation. Nyadran Laut provide a picture of religious moderation in a practice. The ritual participant show an open and adaptive attitude toward change without losing their culture identity. This reflects the community ability to accommodate different religious practice within the framework of the dominant religious teaching. Okay. The Nyadran Laut ritual of Dukuh Jambean is crystallization of the old tradition, Hindu-Buddhist, which was assimilated with the Islamic tradition. Nyadran Laut also plays an important role promoting religious tolerance and social moderation in Indonesia through the integration of cultural and religious element and its impact on social cohesion. This study provides insight into who culture practice so as Nyadran Laut can support religious moderation and social tolerance in multicultural context. Conclusion, the sociocultural anthropological structure of the Dukuh Jambean community provide space to preserve ancestral heritage in the form of old tradition, which then evolve into Islamic tradition. Nyadran Laut also plays an important role in encouraging religious tolerance and moderation in Indonesia. With the research or need measure the concrete impact of participant in nyadran laut on individual attitude and behavior in religious and social context. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dr. Tamamuddin very much to the share good presentation. And the next one, I would like to invite Miss Oki Sapitri Menkayati to share the perspective on accelerating welfare improvement touch home renovation in Indonesian remote communication. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, kita ulang lagi ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain amma ba'du. Before I'm going to my presentation, listening to Allah who has given us the mercy and the blessing and to come together in the simple place today and good wishes to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who has darkness felt like brightness. Okay. The honorable moderators today, Mrs. Samara, and the honorable presenters, my research team, myself, Oki Sapitri Menghayati, Alia Gadis, and Mrs. Lemiana. Okay, the title of our research, Accelerating Welfare Improvement Through Home Renovation in Indonesia's Remote Communities. The next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay. Introduction, community welfare, the main goal in sustainable national development. In Indonesia, one of the biggest challenges in realizing this welfare is the provision of adequate housing for low-income communities. Adequate housing plays an important role in improving the quality of life, health, and social and economic welfare of families. However, in various regions, including in Musi Banyuasin Regency, South Sumatra, there are still many families who live in houses that do not meet livable standards. This condition not only reduces their quality of life, but also hinders overall social and economic development. Following up on this problem, the Indonesian government, through the National Zakat Agency, Basnas, launched the Uninhabitable Houses, RTLH programs. This program aims to help underprivileged families refurbish their home to make them habitable, so that they can improve their quality of life and welfare. This program not only provides assistance in the form of materials, but also involves the community in the rehabilitation process, with the hope of fostering a sense of social concern and mutual cooperation. Okay. The objective of this study, one, analyze the implementation of the RTLH programs by Basnas in Musi Banyuasin Regency. 2. Identify and evaluate the impact of the RTLH program and the welfare of the community receiving assistance. 3. Refer the challenge faced in implementing the RTLH program and provides a recommendation to improve the effectiveness of this program in the future. Literature review. Use the concept of community welfare, policy implementation theory, housing improvement program and its impact, the role of non-governmental organizations in the implementation of social programs, challenge in implementing housing improvement programs, measuring the success of housing improvement programs. Research methods, research location. This research was conducted in Banyuasin Regency, South Sumatra, which was chosen as the research location because it is one of the areas that is active in implementing the RTLH program through Basnas. And research participant, the participant in this study consisted of 3 main groups. Beneficiaries of the RTLH programs, Basnas staff responsible for programs, implementation, and local community leaders who had knowledge of the social and economic conditions in the area. Research design. This study used a qualitative approach with a descriptive method to explore and understand the implementation of the uninhabitable housing RTLH program implemented by the National Zakat Agency Basnas in Musi Banyuasin Regency. Okay, result and discussion. Implementation of the home renovation programs RLTH by Basnas in Musi Banyuasin Regency. This study refers that the implementation of the uninhabitable house Indonesia Rumah Tidak Layak Huni RTLH program by the National Zakat Agency Basnas in Musi Banyuasin Regency has been running well despite facing several challenges. From the result of interviews with Basnas staff and community leaders, it was found that the program implementation process began with the identification of potential beneficiaries to file survey and submission of proposal from the community. After the data was collected, Basnas conduct verification to use that the beneficiary meet the established criteria, such as the condition of the house being very uninhabitable and the economic inability to carry out renovation themselves. Okay. Impact or RTLH program on community welfare. The result of the study show that the RTLH programs has had a significant positive impact on the welfare of the beneficiary community. Most beneficiaries report that after their homes were revised, their quality of life improved, especially in terms of security, comfort, and health. Improved living conditions have allowed to allow their resorts to other equally important needs, such as education and health. Challenges in implementing the RTLH program. The RTLH program in Musi Banyuasin Regency has success in providing positive impacts. This study also found several challenges that still need to become overcome. The main challenges faced is budget conflict, which result not all houses that need refined be repaid immediately. In addition, geographical issues such as access to remote areas are also significant obstacles. In some cases, forward access make the process of delivering building materials more difficult and takes longer. Accelerating welfare improvement to home renovation program. The home renovation program serves as the main foundation in accelerating welfare by providing decent housing, which is the most fundamental indecent intervention. With a safe and comfortable home, the rights in disease are reduced, and a sense of security is increased, providing a strong foundation for improving the quality of life. Furthermore, reduced expenditure after renovation allow funds previously allowed for home repairs or health costs to be used for other needs such as the education and business capital, accelerating the strengthening of the family economy. Okay. Recommendation to improve the effectiveness of the RTLH programs. There is need to focus on several key areas. First, expanding access to decent housing is essentially to use that the house being refined to required standards, providing additional funding and prioritizing very inadequate housing will help address the underlying housing issue. Second, paying attention to the health and well-being of beneficiaries by ensuring that housing meets health standards and providing health education will improve their overall quality of life. In addition, increasing community participation in the home improvement process will strengthen local engagement and ensure that the program meets the specific need of the community. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Oki Sapitri Menkayati. The next one, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Zainal Mustaqim to share your research about educational management for diversity, local policy, and strategy for creating harmony in Muslim minority community in Indonesia, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan wa syukran lillah, salatan wa salaman ala rasulillah amma ba'da. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, thank you for moderator, distinguished all presenters and participants. My name is Rahmat Kamal. I represent research team consisting Professor Zainal Mustaqim, Professor Sinta Dewi Rismawati, Miss Isriani Hardini, Miss Umi Mahmudah PhD, and myself. The title of our research is Educational Management for Diversity, Legal Policies and Strategies for Creating Harmony in Muslim Minority Communities in Indonesia. Excuse me, I deliver this presentation combine the Arabic language. Walau kana al-madah allati tuqaddam ala syasah maktubun wa tuqaddam bil lughatil injiliziyah. Sa'adatal kurama ayyuhal hadirun. Next. Sudah. Oh, I'm sorry. Ayyuhal hadirun. Kama arafna anna adada muslimina fi biladina Indonesia aktsara min ghairil muslimin. Wa kama yatasawwar fi hadha taswir anna adadal muslimina aktsara min ghairil muslimin hum al-masihiyun wa Protestan, Katolik, Hindi, Buddhist, Confucius, and other religion. Walakin fi ba'dil halat anna adadal muslimina aqallu min ghairil muslimin. Aqallu min ghairil muslimin masalan fil madrasati minal madarisil ladzi yabnaha ghairul muslimin hum al masihiyun masalan. Wa qad yujadu fiha at-tullabul muslimun. Fa kaifa bitarbiyatid diniyatil islamiyati bitullabil muslimina fiha. Wa hadhil mushkilah. Fa kaifa bitarbiyati ad-dini al-islami litullabil muslimina fiha alladhi madrasatuhum yabnaha ghairul muslimin ahaduha al-masihiyun aw ghairu. Wa kama sayaqulu Suhartono wa kama sayaqulu Suhartono yudharu bahsun annal adida minal madaris ghairil muslimati lam tatamakkan min tawfiri hayati tadris au murafikin tud'imut ta'limad diniyal islamiyya ala nahwil amsal litullabil muslimin. Wa hadza yakhtalifu amma huwa maktubun minal qanunil jumhuriyati ila annahu yajibu ayyakuna likulli muta'allimin al-haqqu fi talaqqi ta'limid dini wifqan li dinihi au diniha wa ayyakuma bitadrisihi muallimuna min nafsiddin. Wa hadhil mushkilah. Walihalli hadhil mushkilah kaifa al-idaratu ta'limiyatu litanawu
wa hadza an-namr al-wahid minal mushkilah. Wa tsani wa kaifa yumkinu lis-siyasatil qanuniyati an tud'ima at-tanawwu' ad-diniyya fil madaris khassatan fi khalqi bi'ati ta'limihi syamilatin li jami'il muta'allimin. Wa tsalis ma hiya at-tariqah li khalqil insijam bainat talabatil muslimin fil madarisi ghairil muslimah. Warabi al-akhir hal hunaka afdalul mumarisat allati yumkinu an tukhalliqal insijam fi dhilli tanawu'il mu'taqadati fil muassasati ta'limiyah. Next to result and discussion. As-su'alul awal, kaifa al-idaratu ta'limiyatu lit-tanawwu'. Wa hadza jawabuhu. Jawabuhu underline the significance of comprehensive approach. Tu'akidun nata'ij ala ahmiyati wujudi nahjin syamil fil idarati ta'limiyati lit-tanawwu' alladzi yatadammanu siyasatin qanuniyatan tud'imut tanawwu' ad-diniyya fil madaris wa tunfidhu at-tariqatu ta'limiyah muta'addidati tsaqafah qa'imatan alat tasammuh wal qiyamil insaniyah. Wa ila hadza qad yaqulu Gusdur fi halatis sa'ah the humanity before religiosity. The humanity before the religiosity. Masalan yumkin idza ra'aitumul musibata fit tariq lam tas'al ayyudinuha walakin istakhdamhu lit ta'awun lil insaniyah. Huwa an-nata'ij al-awwal. Atsani as-siyasatul qanuniyatul lati tud'imu tanawwu'a ad-diniyah. Ta'tabiru hadhihi siyasatul qanuniyah balighatal ahammiyah fi tawfiril himayati wal aman litullabil muslimin alladzi yartadunal madarisa min mukhtalafil adyan. Wa fi jumhurina Indonesia yakunu al-qanun binizami ta'limil watani ila annahu yajibu likulli muta'allimin bita'limid dini at-tullab alladhi yuwaffiqu dinahu likulli madrasah. Hal hiya madrasatun yabnaha al-muslimun au madrasatun yabnaha ghairul muslimin. Wa hadza an-natijatu tsaniyah. Wan natijatu tsalitsah. At-tariqatu li khalqil insijam bainatul labil muslimin fil madarisi ghairil muslimah. At-tariqatu ta'lim muta'addidis saqafi al-qa'im ala tasammuh tutihu hadhihi at-tariqah litullabi min khalfiyati diniyatin mukhtalifatin at-ta'allumu ma'an fi jawin minal ihtirami al-mutabadil wal infitah. Wahada an-natijatu tsalitsah. Wan natijatu rabi'ah as-siyasatul mahalliyah allati tud'imut ta'addudiyah. Tatamasha hadhihi siyasah al-mahalliyah ma'al wataniyah mimma yusmihu lil mudaris bitakshifi nahjiha minal khasaisil aqaliyah. Afdalul mumarisat li khalqil insijam wastatanawu ilmu ta'aqidat fil muassasati ta'limiyah. Best practice to create harmony amidst the diversity of belief in education institution. Number 1, Pius Pemalang Junior High School. Madrasah Pius Pemalang, idaratun madrasah mudhkiratan tafahuma ma'a aqrabi madrasatin hukumiyah litaklifit tullab al-muslimin bi hududi ta'lim ad-dini wifqan lidinihim. The management of Pius Pemalang Junior High School makes an MOU with the nearest state junior high school to entrust Muslim students to attend religious education according to their religion. Number 2, during school extracurricular camp activities, Muslim students at Pius Pemalang High School, Junior High School, are facilitated to pray with their friend of the same religion. This Pius Pemalang Junior High School. And even during Ramadan, interfaith Pius students hold a takjil. Understand takjil? Takjil, iqta'ut ta'am indal iftar fi syahri Ramadan. Even during Ramadan, interfaith Pius students hold a takjil distribution program and bring the past together at the school. And this best practice the harmony of the religion. And next, Purwatalun Christian Elementary School. Some Muslim students are given Islamic religious lesson by bringing in an Islamic teacher for the local Ministry of Religious Affairs to give religious lesson at the school. The Islamic religious teacher also confirmed this presented at the school, who said that the school was very accepting the presence of Islamic religion teacher to provide religious lesson for Muslim students there, and even taught about the techniques of learning. And there, Christian Elementary School, best practice to create harmony amidst the diversity of belief in education institution. Conclusion. The finding of this study underscores the importance of a comprehensive approach to managing education for diversity involving legal policy that support religious diversity in school, the implementation of multicultural learning strategies based on tolerance and human values, collaboration between the school community, religious leaders and local communities, and local policies that support pluralism and minority rights. The legal policies and integrate multicultural learning strategies have facilitated an inclusive learning environment which serve as an asset to sustainability, foster pluralistic national harmony, and provide a sense of security for all diverse students regardless of difference. Enough? I think no question, because time is finished. Thank you. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Zainal Mustaqim to share your insightful presentation. And okay, the next one, I would like to invite Ms. Badaria to share your research about cultivating responsibility value, transforming Islamic religion, education, and moral character learning. Please, the floor is yours. If you are not here, I will go to the last one. The last one of this panel, inshallah, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Muhlisin to share your research about analysis of non-Muslim student admission policy and state Islamic university and its implication for the practice of religion moderation, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Halo. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala khadil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli, amma ba'd. Ayyuhal hadirun wal hadirat rahimakumullah, especially parallel session, presenter, committee, and the audience rahimakumullah. I want to explain about our research. The title is Analysis of the Non-Muslim Student Admission Policy at State Islamic Universities and its implication for the practice of religious moderation. This research is going to research, not finally research, because this research in this year. Hadirin wal hadirat rahimakumullah, background of the research, we know about Indonesia is one of the countries with the largest Muslim population in the world, alongside other religions such as Christianity, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, and various local beliefs. One of the key principles upheld by the Indonesian government is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, is mandated by Pancasila and the 1945 Constitution. This principle must be applied across all the areas of development, including education sector. State Islamic universities funded and supported by the government are higher education institutions that serve all Indonesian citizens regardless of religion, race, ethnicity, or group. Now, given the nation's diverse background, State Islamic universities must prepare graduates who are both competent and culturally aware. Ladies and gentlemen, and then the background is to improve access to higher education service. State Islamic education must also lead or be a pioneer in upholding democracy and fulfilling human rights. One of the mandates given to state Islamic universities is to promote religious moderation throughout the three dharma, in Bahasa, three dharma of higher education. although of few state Islamic universities have admitted non-Muslim students, their number are still minimum. Next slide, I explore about UIN in Indonesia, about non-Muslim students. Given this context, research are needed on the implementation of non-Muslim student admission system and its implication for religious studies. And then we explore about problem. The one, what are the Muslim student admission policies at state Islamic universities? Two, what factors influence the implementation of the non-Muslim student admission policy at UIN? And three, what are the perception of non-Muslim students regarding the admission policy? Four, what are the implications of the Muslim student admission policy for the practice of religious moderation on campus? And five, what challenges are associated with non-Muslim student admission at state Islamic universities? And then methods, yes. This is current research. Now, the research employs a qualitative approach using a case study method, which include policy document analysis, observation, and in-depth interviews with university management and non-Muslim students. The collected data is refined by truth referring in relation to the problem formulation. Data analysis is performed by the researcher who acts as a key instrument in determining the research finding. Data is meaningfully interpreted through organizing, sorting, grouping, coding, and categorization based on specific criteria leading to finding or answer to the research question. The researchers engage in a theoretical dialogue process to develop conceptual findings, which are then combined with theories discussed in the literature review to form a thesis statement. This is a data. This is a data about non-Muslim students in UIN in Indonesia. UIN Araniri, 1 student. UIN Sumatera Utara, 39. UIN Bandung, 1 student. Syarifatullah, 23. UIN Gusdur in our campus, 5 students. UIN Alauddin, 7 students. UIN Rio, 35. And UIN Malang, 4 students. And then the other result, that is facta, yes. One factor, non-Muslim student admission policy in state Islamic university. Student admission policy is governed by law number 12 of 2012 on higher education, which states that every citizen has the right to education, including at higher education institution. And then number 2, in the Ministry of Religious Affairs, regulation of the Ministry of Religious Affairs, PME, number 74 of 2015 pertain to the admission of new students into bachelor program at state Islamic religious universities in Indonesia, namely PTKIN. Yes. Number 2, According to this regulation, 4 basic principles guide student admission at State Islamic University: transparent and accountability, fairness, achievement-based, and inclusivity. And then, yes, number 4, the admission process for technical students at State University, UIN, involves several routes, and 1, National Academic Achievement Selection of State, namely SPAN PTKIN, State Islamic University Entrance Exam, namely UM-PTKIN, National Selection of State Higher Education, SNPTN, Specialist for Program Study for Minister of Education and Culture, yeah, in Indonesia, Kemendikbud, Ristekdikti, Joint Selection for Entrance to State Higher Education, SBMPTN, version Kemenristekdikbud dan Ristekdikti, and independent selection. Each state Islamic university has its own policy regarding to admission of non-Muslim students determined by the rector's decree. However, not all UINs admit non-Muslim students. Factor contributing to difference in policies for admitting non-Muslim students among various UINs include social and cultural contact, internal campus policies, support from the academic community. There are 3 determinants about factor contributing to difference. Ladies and gentlemen, and then I want to explore about the factor influence the implementation of non-Muslim student admission policies. There are 8 factors: national policy and government regulation, social and cultural contact of nation, accreditation status of higher education and program study, autonomy and internal campus policies, dynamic of pluralism within society, implementation of religious moderation policies as a social mandate, support from the academic community and the campus, availability of desired study for non-Muslim communities, and support service for non-Muslim students. UIN open for non-Muslim students. I'm sorry, moderator. How minutes again? Full for me. 2 minutes. Okay. And then I want to explore the other facts. Non-Muslim student perception. The majority of non-Muslim students have a positive view of the openness and inclusivity in student admission at public institutions. They appreciate the opportunity to study at curriculum at UIN that include both religious material and academic subject. Perception number 2, there are value the thing to interact and socialize directly with Muslim students on campus. The perception number 4, they view this experience positively because they gain cross-religious spiritual experience and support. The fact of 5 perception is they appreciate the opportunity to practice religious moderation in a tangible way. Maybe if I read all these people, maybe 1 or 2 minutes again. The conclusion, yes? I'm sorry, yes? There are four conclusions. The first, overall, the policy for admitting non-Muslim students at state Islamic universities is based on government regulation, the Ministry of Religious Affairs, and campus management. These policies has a significant impact on the public perception of this university institution. Number two, the policy of admitting non-Muslim students significantly enhance the promotion of interreligious dialogue and improve UIN's reputation as a leader in religious moderation, both nationality and internationality. Number three, the policy of admitting non-Muslim students positively impact the image of the state Islamic university, enhancing its reputation as a moderate, inclusive, and tolerant Islamic educational institution, while also improving its academic standing. And number four, the last conclusion. Okay. The last conclusion, the policy of admitting non-Muslim students face both internal and external challenges, particularly due to the conservative views held by some society groups. However, if these challenges are managed effectively, they can become an opportunity to enhance public literacy on religious moderation. I think enough, because moderator always see to us. I don't know about, maybe that is the last presenter. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the last presentation from Professor Dr. Mohlisin to share the insightful presentation, and that is the last one. From me, on behalf of International Islamic College Bangkok, I would like to thank you all for your engaging question and to our panelists for their thoughtful response. And this has been a thoroughly engaged live discussion on culture, social, and education. And we are pleased to invite you to join us for the dinner after Maghrib, inshallah. Once again, thank you very much for everyone, and we will look forward to seeing after Maghrib, inshallah, for the dinner. And now for this presentation, I would like to invite everyone, the presenter and the participation to on the floor to take a photo together. Please go to on the floor. From the presenters, participants, students, please on the floor, on the stage, and take a photo together, please.
السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب العظيم الغفور الجليل الكريم الرقيب المجيب الواسع الحكيم ودود المجيد الباعث الشهيد الحق الوكيل القوي المتين الولي الحميد المحصي المبدع المحيي المميت الحي القيوم الواجد الماجد
ใช่ค่ะเดี๋ยวมีกล่าวปิดแล้วก็ขอประกาศสำหรับ
الواحد الصمد القادر المقتدر المقدم المؤخر.
Thank you for all the presentation today, and thank you for the group photo as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's program. We thank all of our speakers, co-organizers, panelists, and participants, student volunteers for coordinating and cooperating for today. A special closing speech will now be delivered by Dr. Sheikh Muhammad Altafur Rahman from the School of Global Studies, Thammasat University, on the topic of bridging cultures, the lives of Muslims in secular societies. Please welcome on stage.
الفقرة التالية الكلمة الختامية والمحاضرة بعنوان بناء الجسور بين ثقافات حياة المسلمين في المجتمعات العلمانية من المحاضر الدكتور الشيخ محمد ألطاف الرحمن الكلية الدراسات العالمية جامعة تمسار فليتفضل.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's always very difficult to start something at the end. When a whole day and we have so many issues have been discussed and whole day everybody join, so we are heavily with information. And I think it's very wrong time to speak something which will be more tiring. So my apology for being torturing you for another 10 minutes, but let us try to see something that we want to discuss commonly in a very general term to understand what is happening in our life as a minority Muslim, what kind of potential that we have, and how we can create a kind of bridge, probably a potential future that we can build together. I don't want to take a very long time, but there are few premises that we want to understand from this point. The next slide. The first thing in this discussion is very confusing. One of the confusion remain in our mind, saying what we call secular society. When you're talking about secular society, it can be both in a Muslim majority country and a Muslim minority country. A secular society could be a society where there is no religion, but a Muslim minority country could be a society where is opposing religion or other religion, you may say. So it's very confusing to understand Muslim minority in a secular society, what aspect of life we are talking about. Please, next slide. Oh, okay. So this is number one, the first confusion that we may have. The second confusion is when you're talking about Muslim lives, the issues come those who are believers or those who are just Muslim. Because the problem with the just Muslim is that this segment of population can compromise many parts of the faith. So it's not going to be a big problem for them to live in a society where the culture is very opposing. So we have both life. We have a public life and we have a private life. In a society, when you're talking about the culture, some of the cultural components are pretty much at the public life, which may be at some degree okay to compromise. But some of the culture are at the public life, which is very confusing whether we can compromise those or not. So we need to understand those elements as well. The third confusing element we call cultural bridge. Now, how much of the culture can be acceptable? When you're talking about culture, there are several streams of culture, several ways of understanding culture. Sometimes some of the culture are very neutral in terms of your faith. Sometimes some of the culture are very integral in the faith. Now, can we really create a bridge when some of the culture are very integral in the faith, whereas those are contradicting your faith? So those are some of the very basic premise of assumption need to keep on mind when you are addressing the issues of Muslims in a Muslim minority country. So I want to just touch upon a few issues. The first one is a very general understanding about Muslim minority. Islamic jurisprudence about Muslim minority country and position of Muslim. Some of the contemporary conditionalities, cultural beliefs, which can be looking from various dimensions. And we want to end up with some hope. So, way out. First of all, very general idea. When you're talking about Muslim minority in terms of demography, we are talking about globally 1/3 of global Muslim population. And these 1/3 global Muslim populations are living in a Muslim minority country, which is a significant number. In terms of demography, in the Muslim minority country, again, the same goes in terms of age range, 25 to 45. Most of the Muslims are at the age of growth. That means they are at the position of highly participating in the economic activity. They are in the age of active age group. This goes similar with the Muslim majority and minority country. So demographically, we are talking about a group of population who are highly potential. The second point about the perception. Now, when you're talking about Muslims in a Muslim minority country, it has a depiction of the perception which varied country by country, which varied in the point of time and period. So if we look at the earliest form of our timing, when Muslim went to a country which is a Muslim minority country, they have received a very welcome situation everywhere. Why? Because the people of that country perceive Muslim as a liberator. Muslim went to India. Muslim went to other society where people of the local area, they thought Muslims are coming here and they will leave us from the curse of caste, class, different class of the society. So probably by getting Islamized, these people can liberate themselves. This is the way of the perception created to Muslim as being liberator. Very welcoming perception. And we had the chance of getting that perception, including in Southeast Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Thailand, and to some extent, Philippines, because of that very nature of Muslim being liberator. The principle of Islam being appreciated by the locals. Flexibility, openness, accommodating different culture, non-faith culture, was clearly marked. And that is the welcoming phase of Muslim becoming in a Muslim minority country. If we look at the understanding of culture, when Muslim came as a liberator, the culture was understood as a superior culture. It's not about minority or majority culture, but the context of the culture, value of the culture, was accepted as superior culture. Then what happened? It happened that in a contemporary time, Muslims are considered as occupier. And that's very important. Because once you are considered as occupier, then you could be subject of fear, phobia. That means our culture is no more considered as a superior culture. And that is exactly what is happening in Europe. That is exactly happening in the West, where Islamic culture adorned as a backward culture. Yeah? And it is generated because of the occupier mindset. And now we are at the rebel of what you call inferior culture. Now you got question about your dress code. You got question about your 5-time prayer. You got question about your being family. You got question about your very basic creed of unionship, like the marriage, male and female. Can you understand the aspect of this questioning is generated not because of your culture, but because of your social position, because of your economic position. And that's why it is judged as the inferior culture, part of the economic migration. If we look furthermore and we see conflict, it's another aspect. It's a very serious aspect. If we understand post-Cold War conflict phenomena and pre-Cold War conflict phenomena, the statistic shows it is very much disproportionate to the Muslim world. Post-Cold War conflict phenomena. Now, it's clearly assumed, is it because you are Muslim, that's why you are in conflict? Or is the Islam leads us to war? What exactly the rationals? And interestingly, a lot of the literature are showing Muslims are in conflict because of Islam. The hedonistic idea of jihadism as a way of conflicting with other civilization is the context where they draw the conclusion. But we have other narratives as well. The other narratives, for example, we have seen like Neil and Aida and other scholars, they are clearly associating this conflict as not a result of conflict of civilization or clash of civilization. Rather, it is a result which we call imposing conflict. It's a two different thing. When you have imposing conflict, imposing war, then you are a victim, not a perpetrator. We Muslims need to understand this phenomena very clearly, and we need to create our narrative saying that I am not the perpetrator. I am the victim. That's why the conflict is coming to me. And to do it, we have to really understand the context very carefully. What is the condition of Muslims in the minority country? The second aspect we call, when you are in a society, you need to see how the political structure of the society responding to your structure of faith. So there is a definite conflict with this so-called economic system, liberal economic system, versus what you call welfare economic system of Islam. And if this is the conflict, then how you can reconcile? One of the area that we can think is that the majority of the scholar, they think Muslims are not compatible. We are not the compatible element section of the society who can live in a Muslim minority country. This is the dominant view. But if this is the view, how to be in a Muslim minority country? The thing is very clear. And a lot of the scholars actually did this, research, did this study, and they found that when you're talking about political liberalism, the very basic norm of political liberalism doesn't really conflict with the Muslim structure of faith. We have to understand and create the narrative that our political faith, our religious faith is not contradicting if the society is open, if the society is accommodating. But unfortunately, we don't do much work. We don't do much research on that. We don't do much narratives on that. So we cannot negotiate. We cannot communicate this thing to rest of the world. So this is one of the elements that we can see in a minority system. If we look at the Muslim minority, we could see that the minority could have very different classes, different ways to look at that. Muslim minority can be the people in the land, like indigenous Muslim, Bumiputra. And we have the Bumiputra in Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia. We have Bumiputra in Philippines. So we have a section of Muslim who is a minority, no doubt, but they are Bumiputra, they are the people of the land. But we also have people who are coming from outside. And many of them are migrant, many of them are refugee, many of them are seasonal or transition kind of people who are coming there. We also have people who are converts. But whenever we talk about Muslim minority in a country, we point people coming from outside. You are here to take our job. You are here to take our resource. We forget the people of the land. We forget the converts. We forget the people who assimilated in the society. This very selective view of identifying Muslim minority is a problem. We have to understand Muslims are not someone coming from outside world, outside country. You are there. And that is something we have to understand when we think about Muslim minority. We have mixed race. We have people who are scholars. We have people who are coming as a temporary visitor, traders. And these are significant element of Muslim minority section coming in a society. But we oftentimes point Muslim minority is the people who are coming from outside, intruder, taking advantage of our society. This is a wrong perception. That means what we need to do? We need to come up with the literature. We need to come up with the narratives and saying that how Muslim of that society is contributing to the society. Very simple. How Thai Muslim is contributing to the Thai society is the narrative that we need. How Thai Muslims are integral part of the Thai society. Without Muslims in Thailand, the Thailand is not what we have today. If this is the narrative, if this is the perception that we can provide, then our value could be clearly understood. So if this is the case, let's see what is the jurisprudence of Islamic jurisprudence that shows minority in a society as a Muslim. It has a lot of confusion. Can we live in a society which has a very opposing political structure? Can we live in a society which has a contradicting economic structure? And the time goes on. So Muslims start to think. And there are some fiqh, some fatwa has been evolved and developed over time. And we can see one of this is fiqh al-wakaliyat. And this is again generated in the area of Western Hemisphere. We're talking about USA, where you got the North American Fiqh Council in 1994. They're the one who's coming up with all those new solutions. We're saying this solution is not without debate, but at least you have some solution. At least there are someone who is talking about some solution. One of the solutions they're saying is that when Muslims are living in a secular society, then you have to understand whether you can participate in the politics of that society. Because eventually, if you are participating, if the society is to promote the secularism, is to promote shirk in the society, then how can you contribute in the politics, right? But that is something is solved by this answer. We're saying that if a society is secular, essentially it's a faith-neutral society, not irreligious. If a faith-neutral society, you don't have any problem to participate in the politics. Yeah? So that thin gap, we have to identify where we can contribute in a Muslim minority society, Muslim minority country. This constitutes an autonomous jurisprudence. When you talk about autonomous jurisprudence, they have to understand in the point of Islamic jurisprudence, there is some segment of jurisprudence which you cannot compromise, which is like the basic feature of Iman, your Tawheed. But rest, there are areas where you can really accommodate. It can be dictated based on the situation, based on a community you are dealing with. So that autonomous jurisprudence we have to keep in our mind. What exactly we can do in a Muslim minority society. So that gives us a way of dealing our problem in a Muslim minority society from an Islamic jurisprudence point of view. Now let us see what is the contemporary condition that we are talking about. If we are talking about the migrants and refugees in a Muslim minority country, we're basically talking about the perception of dependency. The people cannot be fully, grow if they are dependent. You have always a fear. You're always depending on the conditionality providing to you. So the ultimate essence is that you are the recipient, they are the provider. You are here, they are there. And if this is the relationship in a country, you cannot be equal partner. And that's a very big problem. So you have to do some homework to elevate that mindset. Secondly, the dominant group. We're talking about the mainstream population. Unfortunately, Muslims feels the burden in the society. They're taking our resource. They're taking our job. And that's the dominant view. And which, again, a colonial view, which again, to some extent, very strange. Because study shows that the migrants, the refugees who went there, basically economically highly productive than the people who are originally there. So they are economically contributing nearly 50% more than the ordinary people. So it's a very strange perception. But yet, this perception seems like very popular. Yeah? Because it can create the phobia and it can create the political space for those groups. Finally, people of the land, like the Muslims who are there, there's two different strains there. One, very strong, because they feel deprived, they feel they have to do something, so this particular group becomes very strong. Problem is, some of them can even step in the trap of extremism among that group. And that is not very exception. I mean, we could see that, what happened in Europe. And that is something we need to be very careful about. Being strong in the faith and extremism is not the same thing. And that can be clearly exploited. But secondly, people can get confused. And when people got confused, what happened? The ultimate idea is that you got competed for resources. The resources are limited. Now you start to compete over the resource. I just give a very simple example. Look at in our Thai society. A boy coming from South, and then in the university's atmosphere, he wants to be assimilated. He wants to be seen as a mainstream young boy. So what he does? He forget to go to the pray during the time. He forget to eat the halal food because sometimes he can compromise just to find himself a position in the society, in his peer. And this is what is taking the larger populations of Islam or Muslim young population out of Islam. And if you look at the consequences are very interestingly defined in many places. One of the issues that's being generated we call Islamophobia, and I know all of you understand what is Islamophobia, but the society discriminates based on the Islamic faith. This Islamophobia could be very systematic in the society. Sometimes this Islamophobia is very latent. Who is doing the discrimination, even they don't know, they're doing the discrimination. It is embedded in the society. And that's the danger part. Because Islamic phobia, when it becomes embedded in the society, you as a discriminated entity can feel it. But the person who is doing the discrimination, even the person is not aware about the discrimination. So recognizing the Islamophobia is a very important element here. Second position is the minority in Muslim majority country. And this is another trend we need to understand. When you think about Muslim majority country, we think all Muslim majority country are very much supportive towards Muslim population. This is a very wrong concept. In most of the Muslim majority country, we have the political structure which support the strong government on opposing the Islamic practice. So being a Muslim in a Muslim majority country, you become minority. And that is another dimension you have to understand. And finally, when you're talking about geopolitical preference, we need to understand that sometimes if you look at the condition of Muslim minority in different country, the treatment goes very different. The treatment goes based on country of origin. Yeah. And that's exactly the thing. If the diplomatic and geopolitical relationship goes well, then the people there gets very good treatment. But if the diplomatic relationship and geopolitical interest goes very wrong, then the same group of people get very different treatment. And that is something we again need to consider. So when you're talking about cultural bridge, what we need to understand here? We need to understand one basic phenomena, the theory we call dominant culture theory. The nature of the culture is, if the culture is dominant, it will absorb the smaller culture. It will absorb the small and local culture. So we need to really clarify that culture has to be played in equal term. Dominant culture always take advantage over the small culture. Then another aspect is cultural assimilation, which can even take place in different society by taking and sharing some of the culture. And cultural diminution can be also happen when culture can completely erode in a society. So what we can do? We can create culture shows the best morals. So that could be one way of getting advantage. Culture as a vehicle for faith, so it could really advance the dawah process. Culture to create unity between Muslim and non-Muslim can come together. And secular aspect of culture to bring others together in a single fold can also happen. And finally, strengthen the minority among the Muslim community can also happen by accepting the cultural bridge. The final note to end the speech is that we really need to identify what is the red line of cultural assimilation. And anything that goes over the red line can be clearly accommodated. There has to be wasatiyah, or moderation, which is a very basic feature of faith, need to be really exercised. There has to be education, learning process, and dialogue of understanding between different groups together. And finally, we need to come up with different narratives of accommodation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Can you, doctor, give the certificate, give for you. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Altafur Rahman, for your insightful talk on the lives of Muslims in secular societies. May I invite Mr. Wang Changming, the chairman of Kirk University, to present some special gifts to our Dr. Altafur Rahman. Thank you. From Thammasat University. And the book of abstracts as well. Mr. Altaf, we've got some book of abstract for you today as well. May I ask Mr. Wang Xiaoming to remain on the stage as well, and now we'll give the certificate for all our paper presenters for today. The first one is in the section of culture, social, and education, Mr. Mustafa Kamil Ayub. Certificate. Economy สุดท้าย Assistant Professor Dr. Wisarut Lawiti. And Mr. Taqiyuddin Muhammad Rabbani. Thank you, Mr. Wang Changming. Thank you, Mr. Wang Changming. May I invite Dr. Sarawut Laksan, the Assistant Chairman of Executive Committee for Strategy and Development and Assistant Vice President for International Affairs on stage. Can we take photos with the three paper presenters that received a certificate earlier? May I now invite Dr. Sarawut Laksan, Assistant Chairman of the Executive Committee for Strategy and Development and Assistant Vice President for International Affairs. May I now invite another paper presenters, Mr. Mahlulatul Mufida. Thank you. ฟิศอะไรอะ
กราฟิก
แล้วก็
MS
Dr. Kafith MS. Thank you. Dr. Tamamuddin. Okay. Dr. Zainal Mustaqim. Oki Sapitri Mengayati. And finally, Professor Dr. Mohlisin. And the next session is for Thai and Arabic papers. The first one is Dr. Parinya Prayatsap. May I call Dr. Smith Esau. And finally, Ridwan Jeha. And Mr. Anis Badolo. And the next room, in economics room, Mr. Karun Ardian Sheikh. And Mr. Umi Mahmuda. Miss.